Hey guys, Bound to Divide here with Abletontips, and today I'm going to be showing you how we can write a chord progression based on our melody. Okay, so I'm just going to play you a short 5-second clip of the track we're working with today, and it's called Wait For You. It's one of, well, probably my biggest song, and the reason I chose it is I just think it's got a really interesting interplay between the melody or the lead and the chord progression. So let's just play a short snippet of it. Okay, and the lead that I'm talking about it's really actually a bass line, but I guess it's more of a lead than it is a bass line because it's kind of playing this melody. It's a melody that you can kind of remember and hum along to, and it sounds like this. And lay it together with the piano chords here. Okay, so the method we're going to be using to kind of explain this is a method that you could use if you didn't really trust your ear yet and you're still quite a beginner and you are struggling to figure out how to find the right chords to go with your melody. So I always recommend doing these sort of things by ear. It usually leads to more interesting chord progressions and stuff. But if you use this method that I'm going to show you, you could wind up with the exact same sort of melody that I've written here, which has done quite well for itself so far. So by all means, it's not a bad way to work. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the notes in our melody and building the chords around it. And what I want to do first is to just transpose this into a different key so that we're just looking at all the white notes because it's just easier to understand. Okay, so an easy way to look at this and to understand it is we could just take the MIDI from our bass line here and overlay it over the piano chords, and then you'll immediately understand what I've done. So I'm just going to click on both piano over here and hold Control and click on this bass pluck. Now you can see if we have this focus enabled, we can focus in on each one of these melodies just by switching between the two colors over here, or we could overlay them on top of each other and then you could see them sort of together like that. But I think it's just easier to look at like this, and then we know which one we're looking at. So now we're looking at this melody and we can see each one of these notes is essentially just arpeggiating the chords. So if we had written this melody first, then what I would be doing is just making chords out of the notes in the melody. And it's really a great way to work because then you know that all of these harmonies fit the melody perfectly and there's no real guessing and having to trust your ear and see if it works. You're kind of just using pure theory and essentially tracing out a chord progression over your melody. So we can quickly rebuild this chord progression together and show you how I would do it. So I'm just going to make a new channel here and I'm going to go in here and just delete all the notes. And then we're going to overlay these two again. And I'm just going to solo the piano and the bass together. And now we're going to focus in on this purple clip over here just by clicking on this little purple line. And now we can start just writing out our chords. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just solo this piano so that we can only hear the piano. So we can see the bottom note here is this F. So I'm just going to draw out an F here. And then the second note is the C. And then the top note is the A. And so that is an F major chord. It's like the F, A, C kind of shape. But there's just a different voicing. So we've got this A that's being played up here instead of down here. So then our first chord sounds like that. Maybe we should just bring down this velocity a little bit here. Okay, so we just extend out this chord. And then we have a look at this melody again. And we can see there's a change here where this on the second run of this melody, it's going from the C up to this E. Let me make this bigger. It's probably easier to look at. Yeah, so we're going from this C up to this E. So now our next chord, we can just move this middle note up to the E, and that should work nicely. So we're just going to hold Control and click and drag this note up here. Okay, so then our bass note will probably be this A. It just makes sense because that's the one that that's the bottom of our melody over here. So that sounds like this. And we want to just drag this forward a bit so that it comes in a bit before the beat. Okay, so now we need the top note of our chord. The problem is when we have a look at this melody, we don't really have a note that exists up here on the melody. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use a little bit of music theory here, and we're going to build a chord off of these two notes. So if I look at this, we've got an A and we've got an E, which is actually the fifth of an A. So we could build an A minor chord by just building a standard triad. And we do this by skipping the very next note and then putting one down. And if you don't really know how to build standard triad chords, we've got some courses linked below that you can check out, and we cover all the basics, which would include building chords. So we're just going to place our note here at C, and we've got our A minor chord, and listen to that. And that sounds okay, but I kind of wanted to move up and be a bit brighter. So hold shift and just move this up. And we're creating a similar kind of voicing to this chord where we've got the third, so basically the middle note being played an octave higher. So we're doing that on both of these chords. And then the last chord, we're just going to build it off of these notes here. So I'm going to add a note there, and then another note here, and another note here. Okay, and then we'll just keep on going down, and then this one goes up just one step, and so does this one. And I'm not really sure what to do here. Let's listen to it and see how this sounds. Okay, so here we can probably step up. Let's just see what chord we can build here. If we had to turn this into a standard triad over here, we've got an F, so the next note would be an A, and then we've got a C over here. So let's try shifting this A up an octave, just like we've been doing before, because we're trying to keep this nice big open voicing. I'm just going to play it from here. And then we're going to be holding this out up until this point here at 423. So again, we're overlaying this note over here, and we're just going to continue dropping notes down over these gray ones. And then our last chord goes up to this D note over here. And again, we've got this problem where we don't have any other notes to work with, but what we can do is just build another standard triad. So we've got the D, then we can build a D, F, A, which is our D minor chord. And let's just try and shift this up an octave here, this middle one, and just hear how that sounds. And there we go, that's basically just the process that I used to write the chords in this song. So I'm not going to continue doing the rest of the chord progression because I'm pretty sure we've all got the point now. But I hope that was helpful for you, and if you're struggling with writing some chords for your melody, you now got this method and it should allow you to write pretty cool chords based on your melody. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to take a deeper dive into music theory, be sure to check out our courses linked below. Hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.